Hello everyone, it's Annie and I'm here today with my most anticipated book releases for April, May, and June. Had to remember the months there. Yes, so I love making these videos because I am obsessed with seeing what books are coming out, and there are some amazing books coming out this spring. I am so excited, especially for the June releases because that's my birthday, and there are definitely some books that I would love to get for my birthday. So, but first we're going to talk about the April releases. So let's go. So the first one I am super excited for. It's called Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh, coming out April 11th. Now this is a queer space opera, which if you know me, you know that that is my most favorite string of words in the whole entire world, queer space opera. That's just my thing. So yeah, it follows Kier, and all her life she's trained for the day that she can avenge the murder of planet Earth. Raised in the bowels of Gaia Station alongside the last scraps of humanity, she readies herself to face the wisdom, the all-powerful reality-shaping weapon that gave the Majoda their victory over humanity. Kier is one of the best warriors of her generation, the sword of a dead planet, but when command assigns her brother to certain death and relegates her to the nursery to bear sons, she knows she must take humanity's revenge into her own hands. Yes, girl, you must. Alongside her brother's brilliant but seditious friend and a lonely captive alien, she escapes from everything she's ever known into a universe far more complicated than she was taught and far more wondrous than she could have imagined. I am looking forward to a possible romance between her and this lonely alien, perhaps. I am so excited for this one. Do I have it on NetGalley? I don't remember, or I may have requested on NetGalley and they still didn't get back to me. Either way, I'm reading it as soon as it's released because I just need it, and the early reviews have been really positive so far. Yeah, I am just so excited for this. I need it. And that one was an adult book. This one is a young adult book. It is Bianca Torre is Afraid of Everything by Justine Pusella Winans, coming out also April 11th. So this is a young adult queer mystery with a non-binary main character, which is love it. Love it. Okay. So this says it is a sardonic and campy YA thriller with the main character being an anxious, introverted, non-binary teen birder. Okay, I love birds. Somehow finding themselves solving a murder mystery with their neighbor, all while falling for a cute girl from their birding group and trying not to get murdered. To be honest, that's all I need to know about this. I mean, first of all, the cover is sick. That is an awesome cover. I'm just excited about having another book with a non-binary main character. Again, we really don't get that many of them. And I don't know, I'm just super excited for this. I've been following it since this author got an agent and everything and got picked up by their publisher. So I am just super excited for this one. Okay, now switching gears a little bit, we're back to adult. This is an adult romance. It is The Fiancé Farce by Alexandria Bellefleur, coming out April 18th. So this is a sapphic rom-com, okay, following Tansy Adams, who works at their family's bookstore, but when it comes to actual romance, she is kind of not there, okay, she can't do it. So she's tired of her stepfamily's questions about her love life, so she invents Gemma, a fake girlfriend inspired by the stunning cover model on a best-selling book. What's the harm in a little white lie? Yet, when real-life Gemma crosses Tansy's path, her white lie nearly implodes. Okay, so of course there's fake dating, marriage of convenience, something about the grandfather's will, and she needs a wife to meet the terms of it. Sounds like Kiss Her Once for Me. Sounds interesting. I'm not the hugest fan of this cover, but I don't hate it. And I know a lot of people like really dislike it, but I don't hate it. It's just like, okay. So I'm excited about this. It sounds fun. It sounds fun. And you know what? We need some more fun sapphic rom-coms, all right? We just do. All right, so the last book of April comes out April 25th, and it is Just As You Are by Camille Kellogg. If you watched my announcement video for the Sapphic Book Club picks for April, May, and June, you know that this is our May pick, okay. So this is a sapphic Pride and Prejudice retelling about a girl named Liz who works at a failing queer magazine in New York City that gets bought, and the new minority investor named Daria Fitzgerald, Mr. Darcy, okay, is like slashing their budget, canceling all their fun like Bagel Fridays and stuff like that, and Liz hates her. She hates her. However, as Liz and Daria wind up having to spend more and more time together, Liz starts to see a softer side to Daria. She's funny, thoughtful, and likes the way Liz's gender presentation varies between butch and femme. Despite the evidence that Liz can't trust her, it's hard to keep hating Daria and even harder to resist the chemistry between them. This sounds so adorable, and I am so excited to read it with all of you for my Sapphic book club, so definitely check the link out up here, which I will put, and read along with us, okay? Now on to May books. The first one is a YA mystery called Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley, coming out May 2nd. Now, I read Firekeeper's Daughter. That was her debut. It was just fine for me, but for some reason, I'm getting a better feeling about this one for me. So it follows Perry Firekeeper Birch, who was ready for her summer of slack, but instead, after a fender bender, she's stuck working to pay back her aunt for repairs to the car. So she has other outcasts of the summer program Team Misfit Toys that she has to take part in. But when she attends a meeting at the local university, Perry learns about the Warrior Girl, an ancestor whose bones and knives are stored in the museum archive. She has to return her to her tribe. She's determined to help, and the federal law that allows tribes to request the return of ancestral remains and sacred items. However, the university has been using legal loopholes to hold on to Warrior Girl, but Perry doesn't want it to go on any longer. So there's like a heist involved, and it sounds like a really interesting, intriguing mystery. It doesn't seem that there's going to be any romance in this, which I'm happy about, because the romance was the part of Firekeeper's Daughter that I really wasn't a fan of. So I'm looking forward to reading this. The cover is really cool too. Okay, another YA book called If Tomorrow Doesn't Come by Jen St. Jude. I love this cover. It's coming out also May 9th, and it is compared to They Both Die at the End. It's a debut novel. So it follows Avery, who's queer, in love with her best friend, whose name is Cass, who is also on the cover. She's also suffering from undiagnosed depression, and the morning that she plans to jump into the river, the world discovers that there's only 9 days left to live because an asteroid is heading on a collision course with Earth. So trying to spare her family and Cass additional pain, Avery does her best to make it through just 9 more days. As time runs out and secrets slowly come to light, Avery would do anything to save the ones she loves, but most importantly, she learns to save herself. Okay. Yeah, I love the sound of this. It sounds like a really interesting blend of like not post-apocalyptic, but apocalyptic sci-fi and just queer love, and also sounds like it's gonna be kind of really sad. So yeah, it just sounds like something I would really like, and I just love this cover so much. Next is also on May 9th, called To Shape a Dragon's Breath. This is the first book in a new young adult fantasy trilogy. It follows a young indigenous woman who enters a colonizer-run dragon academy and quickly finds herself at odds with the approved way of doing things. It takes place on the remote island of Masquepag that has not seen a dragon in many generations until Anaquis, the main character, finds a dragon's egg and bonds with its hatchling. Her people are delighted, for all remember the tales of the days when dragons lived among them. Unfortunately for Anaquis, the English conquerors of her land have different opinions. They have a very specific idea of how a dragon should be raised, and Anaquis does not meet their requirements. Only with great reluctance do they allow her to enroll in a proper dragon school on the mainland. If she cannot succeed there, her dragon will be killed. Okay, but she is smart, determined, and resolved to learn what she needs to help her dragon, even if it means teaching herself. The one thing she refuses to do, however, is become the meek English miss that everyone expects. So, dragons and fighting colonialism sounds like a perfect mix to me. Okay, that sounds amazing, and I cannot wait for this. I have an ARC on NetGalley, so I'm hoping to read it really soon. Okay, the next book is another YA book. This is a queer YA rom-com called You Don't Have a Shot, which is going to be our June pick for the Sapphic Reading Club. It's by Raquel Marie, who of course wrote Ophelia After All, which I absolutely adored last year. That was such a great book. So I'm really looking forward to this. This follows Val, whose life revolves around soccer, but after she incites a fight against her longtime rival Leticia during a game, everything she's been working towards seemed to disappear. Okay, so she's embarrassed and desperate to be anywhere but home, so she escapes to her beloved childhood soccer camp for a summer of redemption, only to find out that she and Leticia will be co-captaining a team. Okay, but the competition might be stiffer than expected, so unless they can get their act together and like work together, they might have a problem. So yeah, this is rivals to lovers. It does involve soccer. I do like sports romances, so we shall see. It looks pretty cute to me. The next one is also YA contemporary romance. It is Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Cher Lee, coming out May 16th. Okay, and it says it's Heartstopper meets Crazy Rich Asians, which I feel like will be extremely popular. And just look at this cover. It has a cute little corgi. The colors are so bright and happy. Okay, it follows Dylan Tang, who wants to win a Mid-Autumn Festival mooncake making competition for teen chefs in memory of his mom and to bring much-needed publicity to his aunt's struggling Chinese takeout in Brooklyn. Enter Theo Summers, charming, wealthy, with a smile that makes Dylan's stomach do backflips, aka a distraction. Their worlds are sun and moon apart, but Theo keeps showing up. He even convinces Dylan to be his fake date at a family wedding in the Hamptons. In Theo's glittering world of pomp, privilege, and crazy rich drama, their romance is supposed to be just pretend. But Dylan finds himself falling for Theo, for real. Then Theo's relatives reveal their true colors, but with the Mooncake Festival looming, or contest looming, Dylan can't risk being sidetracked by rich people problems. Can Dylan save his family's business and follow his heart, or will he fail to do both? This just sounds so much fun. I am a little bit hesitant only because Cafe Con Leche has kind of a similar concept with the saving of somebody's bakery, and I really didn't like that book. That was one of my worst books I read last year. So I do have high hopes for this though. The early reviews are really good. So, and it just looks so cute. Okay, it looks adorable. Okay, now this book is a sequel, so I won't go too much into the details because I don't want to spoil anything. It is The Battle Drum by Sara El Arifi, which is the second book in the Ending Fire trilogy, okay? And yeah, so it's a continuation to The Final Strife, which was awesome. And again, I'm not going to say too much about it. If you have read The Final Strife, you know that the ending was extremely shocking and there was a huge cliffhanger that I need to be answered, okay? I need it. So I really need this book. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. Okay, the last book for May comes out on the 30th, and it is Witch King by Martha Wells, which is her fantasy debut, okay? And so it stars Kai, okay? After being murdered, his consciousness dormant and unaware of the passing of time while confined in an elaborate water trap, Kai wakes to find a lesser mage attempting to harness his magic to his own advantage. But why was Kai imprisoned in the first place? What has changed in the world since his assassination? And why does the Rising World Coalition appear to be growing in influence? Kai will need to pull his allies close and draw on all his pain magic if he is to answer even the least of these questions. And he's not going to like the answers. Okay, you know Martha Wells as the author of the novella series Murderbot, which I love. Martha Wells has a really great talent for having an amazing voice to her characters. We all know Murderbot is super funny, and like his dry, like sarcastic humor is really funny. And I just feel like this is going to have a really strong voice as well. So I'm very excited to read this. Okay, the first book of June is arguably the book that I am most excited about this whole entire year because my queen, Ann Leckie, the sci-fi queen, oh my god. I love her. I love the Imperial Raj series. I love everything that she has ever written. She is coming out with a new book called Translation State on June 6th. You guys know that this is perfect for me because I studied linguistics, I studied translation, that was what I did my thesis on. So we're combining Ann Leckie with translation. I am just so excited, and it takes place in the same universe as the Imperial Raj trilogy. I cannot wait for this. Okay. So it follows Kven, who was created to be a Prester translator. The pride of their clade, they always had a clear path before them, learn human ways, and eventually make a match and serve as an intermediary between the dangerous alien Prester and the human worlds. The realization that they might want something else isn't optimal behavior. It's the type of behavior that results in elimination. But Kven rebels, and in doing so, their path collides with those of two others. And I, a reluctant diplomat whose dead grandmamma has left here an impossible task as an inheritance, hunting down a fugitive who has been missing for over 200 years. And Reet, an adopted mechanic who is increasingly desperate to learn about his genetic roots, or anything that might explain why he operates so differently from those around him. As a conclave of the various species approaches, and the long-standing treaty between the humans and the Prester is on the line, the decisions of all three will have ripple effects across the stars. Okay, and we also have neopronouns, non-binary characters, and I can't wait for this. It has been too long since a Ann Leckie release. I believe her last book was The Raven Tower. Was that released in 2019? Okay, it's been 4 years. We needed this. We needed this, Ann Leckie. Thank you so much. I already know this is going to be one of my favorite books of the year. I mean, it better be. I really hope so, because if it's not, I'm going to be so sad. But doesn't this sound amazing? I cannot wait. The next book is Deep as the Sky, Red as the Sea. This cover is so cool and eye-catching. I love it. This comes out also June 6th. Okay, and this is a riveting, roaring adventure novel about a legendary Chinese pirate queen. Just that sentence by itself makes me want to read this book, because you talk about pirate queens, I'm there, okay? We need this. So when Shek Yeung sees a Portuguese sailor slay her husband, a feared pirate, she knows she must act swiftly or die. Instead of mourning, she launches a new plan, immediately marrying her husband's second-in-command and agreeing to bear him a son and heir in order to retain power over her half of the fleet. But as she vies for control over the army she knows she was born to lead, larger threats loom. The Chinese emperor has charged a brutal, crafty nobleman with ridding the South China Sea of pirates, and the Europeans, tired of losing ships, men, and money to Shek Yeung's alliance, have new plans for the area. Even worse, her cutthroat retributions create problems all their own. As Shek Yeung navigates new motherhood and the crisis of leadership, she must decide how long she is willing to fight, and at what price, or risk losing her fleet, her new family, and even her life. Yeah, pirate queens against the world, sign me up please. Okay, this just sounds so good. Okay, and now we have a sci-fi fantasy called The Surviving Sky by Kritika H. Rao, coming out June 13th. Okay, so it is a Hindu philosophy-inspired science fantasy, which is not something we hear every day, all right? It follows a husband and wife, although this is tagged queer, so hopefully we get more information about the specific representation later on. So it takes place high above a jungle planet, above which floats the last refugees of humanity, plant-made civilizations held together by tradition, technology, and arcane science. In these living cities, architects are revered above everyone else. If not for their ability to physically manipulate the architecture, the cities would plunge into the devastating earth rage storms below. Ooh, so maybe it's like climate fiction too? That's cool. Charismatic, powerful, mystical, Iravan is one such architect. In his city, his word is nearly law. His abilities are his identity, but to Ahilya, his wife, they are a way for survival to be reliant on the privileged few. Like most others, she cannot manipulate the plants, and she desperately seeks change. Their marriage is already thorny, okay. Then Iravan is accused of pushing his abilities to forbidden limits. He needs Ahilya to help clear his name. She needs him to tip the balance of rule in their society. As their paths become increasingly intertwined, deadly truths emerge, challenging everything each of them believes. And as the Earth Rage storms become longer and their floating city begins to plummet, their discoveries might destroy their marriage, their culture, and their entire civilization. Okay, now this is a bit of a monster of a book. It's over 500 pages. So I'm very, very intrigued, especially by like these floating plant islands. That sounds such a cool concept. Okay, I'm just really excited for this one. It seems super unique and awesome. Okay, now this one for some reason doesn't have a cover yet that I can find, which is sad because it comes out June 15th, so like clock is ticking. It is These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs, and it is another sci-fi, queer sci-fi. Okay, I'm really excited about it. It follows June Ironway, who's a hacker, con artist, and only an occasional thief, okay, who has gotten her hands on a piece of contraband that could set her up for life. A video that implicates the powerful Nightfoot family in a planet-wide genocide 75 years ago. The Nightfoots control the precious Sevite that fuels interplanetary travel through 3 star systems, and someone is sure to pay handsomely for anything that could break their hold. Of course, anything valuable is also dangerous. The Kingdom, the ruling power of the 3 star systems, is inextricably tied up in the Nightfoots' monopoly, and they can't afford to let June expose the truth. They task 2 of their most brutal clerics with hunting her down, the stoic Chono and the hothead Essek, who also happens to be the heir to the Nightfoot Empire. But Chono and Essek are haunted in turn by a figure from their past, known only as Six. What Six truly wants is anyone's guess. But the closer they find to getting June, the surer Chono is that Six is manipulating them, and that they are heading for a bloody confrontation that no one will survive unscathed. Reading all these synopses is hard work, okay? Yeah, that sounds amazing. It's a queer space opera, so that's really all I needed to know about it, but the synopsis just sounds so cool and unique. And why don't we have a cover, Orbit? Okay, this is coming out from Orbit on June 15th, so keep your eyes peeled. Okay, now for a little bit of a switch up. This is a YA contemporary mystery thriller horror, okay? By Kaylin Barron. It's You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. The cover is so striking. I love it. It comes out June 20th. And it's also queer, okay, because we love Kaylin Barron. I absolutely loved her other books, so I'm very excited for this one. This is a heart-pounding slasher. Sign me up already. Just sign me up. Okay, it follows Charity, who has the summer job of her dreams, playing the final girl at Camp Mirror Lake. Guests pay to be scared in this full-contact terror game. That sounds awesome, actually. As Charity and her summer crew recreate scenes from a classic slasher film. The more realistic the fear, the better for business. But the last weekend of the season, Charity's coworkers begin disappearing. And when one ends up dead, her role as the final girl suddenly becomes all too real. If Charity and her girlfriend Bezzy hope to survive the night, they'll need to figure out what this killer is after. Is there more to the story of Mirror Lake and its dangerous past than Charity ever suspected? Alright, this just sounds really fun and a little bit campy and just, I don't know, it's perfect for like a summer horror night, you know, it sounds really fun, so I'm excited for it. Okay, and the last book of this video is The Archive Undying by Emma Miyako Kanden, coming out June 27th, alright? So, when the robotic god of Kuan Mo went mad, it destroyed everything it touched. It killed its priests, its city, and all its wondrous works. But in its final death throes, the god brought one thing back to life, its favorite child, Sunai. For the 17 years since, Sunai has walked the land like a ghost, unable to die, unable to age, and unable to forget the horrors he's seen. He's run as far as he can from the wreckage of his faith, drowning himself in drink, drugs, and men. But when Sinai wakes up in the bed of one man he never should have slept with, he finds himself on a path straight back into the world of gods and machines. Okay, this is the first book in a series. Of course, a queer sci-fi, because we can never have too many of those. Alright, so I'm very, very excited for this, and I also love giant robots, so what can be better than that? Alright, thank you so much for watching. I am super excited for all of these books, especially Translation State by Ann Leckie, okay? So let me know down below though if I missed any that you are particularly excited for, because of course I'm always looking for new recommendations. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to my channel for more bookish videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!